It started with something as simple as a Saturday morning chore, the kind of morning where you wake up with a little extra pep in your step because you're finally doing something you've been saving for years to afford. I was rolling a brand new air conditioning unit out of the back of my SUV, proud as hell, thinking this was the last piece that would make our house feel like a real home. My wife Laura was inside making iced tea, and I was smiling to myself because life felt good for once. Until I heard the shrill voice that would flip that morning upside down. "Where do you think you're going with that, huh?" I looked up, and there she was, standing on her front lawn like a referee. No one asked for tracksuit, glowing neon yellow hair sprayed so stiff it could block a punch. Everyone in the neighborhood called her Cheryl, though in my mind that day, she became something else entirely. Her face was twisted with suspicion, and she was pointing at me like she'd just caught a thief in the act. "Ma'am, it's an air conditioner," I said, still holding the dolly, trying to keep things light. But Cheryl wasn't smiling. "I know what it is. You people think you can just steal and flaunt it in front of decent folks that belong to someone else. I saw you dragging it in like you were trying to hide something." At first I thought she was joking. I even chuckled. "No, ma'am, it's ours. Bought it yesterday, got the receipt right here if you want to see it." She squinted, didn't budge. "If anyone deserves a new AC, it's me. Mine broke last month. You think you should get one before me?" I blinked, stunned into silence. I mean, what do you even say to something that unhinged? That's when Laura stepped outside, glass pitcher, sweating in her hands. "Is everything okay?" Cheryl's face lit up like she'd just won the lottery. "Good, she's here. Maybe she can calm you down before the police arrive." And just like that, she pulled out her phone. We stood there dumbfounded as she dialed 911 and launched into a performance worthy of an Oscar. Her voice shook with fake tears as she described a large, aggressive man threatening her, claimed I had stolen property, even dragged Laura into it, calling her my accomplice. My stomach twisted because I knew how this kind of call could end for me. I quietly pulled out my phone, hit record, and let her hang herself with her lies. When the patrol cars showed up, I swear I stopped breathing. 2 officers got out, hands near their holsters, scanning me like I was one wrong move from being tackled. Cheryl ran to them, sobbing into her palms. "That's him. He threatened me. He stole it." I kept my voice steady, pulled out my license, deed, and receipt. "Officers, I live here. This is my house. That's my wife. This is our unit. Bought from Lowe's yesterday. I've got it all here, and I've got her call recorded." They checked the paperwork, looked at the box, and then looked at Cheryl. Her act started to crumble. "He owes me that AC," she screamed. "He doesn't belong here. Arrest him." One of the officers finally snapped at her. "Ma'am, you need to calm down. False reports are a crime." They left without cuffing me, but not before giving me that look. You know, the one that said, "This could have gone a whole lot worse." I thought maybe that was the end of it, but no. Cheryl wasn't finished. A few days later, we got a letter in the mail from the HOA. Unapproved exterior modification. Commercial vehicle in driveway. Noise disturbance. All bogus violations stacked up with fines. It didn't take a genius to know who was behind it. And suddenly, our quiet street didn't feel so friendly anymore. Neighbors who used to wave stopped making eye contact. We heard whispers. Cheryl had started a neighborhood watch email chain, writing up reports about us like she was a detective on a stakeout. She'd sit at her window with binoculars. Even the sound of our screen door creaking open got logged as suspicious activity. I told myself I could live with it until the day her son showed up. Picture a man-child in designer loafers with a golf club slung over his shoulder like a weapon. He strutted across my lawn smirking and said, "You're making things hard for yourself. My mother's patient, but I'm not. People like you, you're temporary. We're permanent." I set down my rake and stood my ground. "Get off my property." His smile dropped. "Apologize. Pay the fines, take down that video of her, or I'll make sure you regret ever buying this house." That night, we got another letter, this time from a law firm with his name on it. They accused me of harassing a vulnerable widow and demanded $5,000 plus a public apology. It was blackmail wrapped in letterhead. Laura and I hired a lawyer, David, who told us exactly what we suspected. It was intimidation, pure and simple. We were gearing up for a legal fight when the real gut punch landed. One morning I walked outside and found our siding spray painted with the word thief in red dripping letters. Our AC lines had been cut, refrigerant leaking into the soil. I stood there, shaking, fists clenched, while Laura sobbed inside. The insurance deductible alone was a nightmare, but the real wound was deeper, the violation of our home, our peace. That was the moment I said enough. We uploaded the recording of Cheryl's 911 call unedited to the internet. And then we went to bed. By morning, our phones were buzzing nonstop. Millions of views, comments from people across the country, local reporters knocking at our door. Cheryl's crocodile tears had become a meme, and the world wasn't laughing with her. Her son's law firm, Suspended Him neighbors, who once avoided us, suddenly came by with apologies, casseroles, even offers to help repaint. For a brief moment, we thought we'd won. But then the lawsuit came. $1 million for defamation. It felt like a punch to the gut until a knock on our door changed everything. Beatrice, our 75-year-old neighbor who'd lived here forever, showed up holding a shoebox full of papers. She whispered, "I couldn't keep quiet anymore. They did this to me too." Inside the box were years of HOA letters, bullying tactics, even a demand that she cut down her century-old oak tree. She still had copies of threatening notes, even emails from Cheryl's son. It was a pattern clear as day. At the HOA board meeting, Cheryl and her son came in smug, acting like royalty. But when Beatrice pulled out her stack of evidence, the room shifted. Gasps, murmurs, all eyes on them. The board tossed out every violation against us and opened an investigation into Cheryl herself. Turns out Franklin, the investigator, dug even deeper. Cheryl had been in debt to the family who lived in our house before us. She believed she was owed part of the property, and when we moved in, she decided we'd stolen her second chance at money. The AC was just the breaking point, a symbol of what she thought she deserved. In the deposition that followed, our lawyer David caught her son red-handed. He produced text messages tying him to a fraudulent real estate scheme, scamming homeowners, pushing fake liens, threatening lawsuits, until people caved. His jaw tightened, face red, and he stormed out of the room. Their entire case collapsed. They settled fast. Full reimbursement for damages, repainting legal fees, and a permanent restraining order. Cheryl was forced to issue a public apology, reading it in front of cameras, with her son standing stone-faced beside her. Within weeks, their house was up for sale. I'll never forget the silence of that first evening after they left, sitting on the porch with Laura, the hum of our new AC cutting through the summer air. It was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. Still, I'd be lying if I said it didn't leave a scar. It made us tougher, yes, but also wary. We got our justice, but not without sleepless nights, tears, and money we'll never get back. So now, whenever I hear that AC kick on, I remember the madness we survived. And I remind myself sometimes justice doesn't come from the people you expect. It comes from a neighbor with a shoebox, or a community that decides it's had enough of bullies. What about you? Have you ever had a neighbor or an HOA cross the line so badly it felt like war? Drop your stories in the comments, because I guarantee you're not alone, and I want to hear how you handled it.